let's go on a Monday, January 26, 2026. Ryan Ermanni, JR Afternoon, Beth Ann Long, Danielle Mason across the glass. Thanks so much for making us part of your day. Hopefully you are staying warm somehow, some way. You know, it feels like these shows we've been having lately is just, wash, rinse, repeat over the last week. Big story locally is the weather. Big story nationally is what's happening in Minneapolis. Man, it is the cycle that we seemingly cannot get out of. But before we begin today, I do want to make mention of one thing. You know, I've got we call it a blooper reel on the television side of things, and it's a viral video. And it is of me with my two co-hosts on Fox 2. And one of the things is about this 90-minute sexual harassment training module that we've all had to take over the years. Anytime you work for a big company, you take the training module. There's a training module for anything. I've taken the training module at Fox 2. And coincidentally enough, when I was hired here at WJR, I too had to take the sexual harassment training module because that's what you do at a big corporation. But I have to say, I came in today, and one of the first things I noticed was the lovely and talented Beth Ann Long, the producer of this fine radio program, JR Afternoon. Beth Ann, your hair looks tremendous. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, thank you. You said it so politely.
And there is a reason for that as well, because your entire weekend was dedicated to getting your hair did. Yes. So I wanted to just say it looks lovely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You see now it's worth the 2-hour drive. Even in a whole snow apocalypse that was going on.
So for people that perhaps maybe have missed a Friday show, Beth Ann drove 2.5 hours to get her hair done this weekend. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much dedication. Good job.
Thanks. I can't switch up on my girl. I can't. And she loved it. She heard us on the air talk about it, and it made her day. She thought it was so funny.
I absolutely love that. And you know what? With that kind of dedication, I felt it was worthy of making a mention of it. Now, Danielle Mason is our HR coordinator as well, our person here that we go to. Do you think I'm pretty safe here, Danielle?
Yeah, you're safe. But
okay.
Honestly, anything you would have said, you would have been safe. In my book.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of HR coordinator we need.
Correct.
We need. Thanks, Beth Ann. Good job. Thanks, Danielle. Oh, my goodness. We've got a great show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk to Dr. Michael Lutz, the president of Men's Health Foundation of Michigan. Dr. Lutz is going to talk to us about all of these wearables. We kind of teased it at the end of our conversation on Monday. It feels like everybody is wearing these Oura rings or Apple Watches or something to get their numbers. Are they accurate? Does it tell a story? What does Dr. Lutz say about that? So we'll talk to him at 2:48 regarding that. Coming up at 3:18, we'll talk to Roop Raj, the anchor and host of The Pulse on Fox 2. The Pulse, it airs at 7:30 on Fox 2. It is the only nightly political talk show, news show on a local news network. And so we'll talk to Roop Raj about that, everything happening with that show. He's got an interview tonight. And just talk about how he goes about giving people an impartial look at the news, because we know, and we talk about it a lot here on this show, and we're going to do so again today, how things are covered are as important and as impactful, I think, as the news itself is how we tell the story of what's happening. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But I want to get into some local news here as the impact of this week, USA Today, I should say. USA Today, the parent company of the Detroit News and the Free Press, is set to acquire the News, actually. And I'm completely butchering this because my eyes are playing tricks on me. So USA Today, the parent company of the Detroit Free Press, set to acquire the Detroit News and keep publishing it as a separate paper. WJR's Marie Osborne with a much clearer look that I can give you regarding what's happening here on this ever-changing Detroit newspaper landscape. Hey, Marie, clear it up for the people.
Yeah, hi, Ryan. You are not the only one that's confused. This, first of all, came as a surprise to a lot of people, and it's confusing to follow all the names here. So the announcement follows the end of a 36-year joint operating between the Detroit Free Press and the Detroit News, which merged business operations but kept the newsrooms independent. As the competitors worked to unwind their partnership, the News had planned to launch a new Sunday edition that was supposed to start at the beginning of the year, but it abruptly paused those plans earlier this month. Now, the company announcing today that it has signed this binding letter of intent with the current owner, Media News Group, and expects the deal to close by the end of the month. Financial terms have not been disclosed. So, in other words, the parent company of the Free Press is now going to own the Detroit News. USA Today highlighted that the Detroit News is a 3-time Michigan Newspaper of the Year award winner. It's one of the nation's top regional digital news sources. The CEO, Mike Reed, said bringing the paper fully into the company's network strengthens its commitment to local journalism. The acquisition will be financed with cash and support from Apollo Management, USA Today's primary lender. Now, while it's rare, it's not unprecedented for a single company to own both major daily newspapers in a large metro area. And Ryan, I have a lot of friends who are in the newspaper reporting business, and they have a lot to say about this. Some people deeply concerned that, again, there will only be this sort of one voice behind two independent papers. Always good to have a diversified opinion and thought.
That is the question, I think, Marie, when it comes to this story, because the News and Free Press are pretty different papers, I think, and especially with their editorial boards. I'm curious to see what happens here, because there's no doubt about it. We need differing viewpoints. We need all sides, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show as well. But this is a story worth keeping an eye on, that's for sure.
Absolutely, sure is.
We're going to talk about that weather coming up next, because it's just a mess out here. So we'll talk to you in the 3 o'clock hour, Marie.
Will do.
You got it. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about the situation in Minneapolis. There is news today regarding the president. He had a phone call with Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. He's also sending Tom Home in there. We're going to discuss that. We'll talk about what happened this weekend, and I'm going to try to have a comprehensive look, a reasonable look at what happened over the weekend in Minneapolis as best we can. We invite you to call the show as well if you want to weigh in. 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. But I'm going to lay out a couple of things for you first, and we'll go from there. We'll have a conversation about it. 760 WJR.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Dad, we need more balloons.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex.
I love you.
Just Sinex.
I think you like it when I say these things. I think it's a lot of fun.
760 WJR and the Detroit Economic Club welcome Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson to our podium Thursday, February 5th at the Masonic Temple in Detroit. She'll share powerful stories from the rise in politics as well as those of paradigm shifters throughout history.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Warriors who have power to define a better world. Catch Focus noon till 2 as we broadcast live. Special coverage is sponsored by DFCU Financial.
All right,
Tickets
thank
and more
you.
information, visit econclub.org.
WJR.
WJR and the Detroit Economic Club are pleased to welcome Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson to our podium Thursday, February 5th at the Masonic Temple in Detroit. She'll share powerful stories from her rise in politics as well as those of paradigm shifters throughout history to demonstrate how we're all purposeful warriors who have power to define a better world. Catch Focus 3 till 2 as we broadcast.
Do you want to talk to Ryan at all?
Coverage is sponsored by DFCU Financial.
Wait, can I get your name and where you're calling from again? You're kind of muffled a little bit on your
Welcome to
side.
the Blue Man Group back to the Motor City. See them when they bring their global smash hit Blue Evolution tour to the Fox Theater with 4 performances February 20th through the 22nd.
Okay, Ron, I'm going to put you on hold
As
for
three
Ryan.
bald and blue characters explore the world and discover music, comedy, and surprises at every turn. You could win tickets. Text keyword blue to 800-859-0957. Sponsored by 313 Presents. Official rules at WJR.com. Tickets available for purchase at Ticketmaster.
Well, it's winter time out there, and this is the time of year we get some very specific emails at the InsideOutsideGuys.com. Why can't I keep my home warm?
Or why are my windows full of condensation? Ken and I have answers to all of those things, and most of them are found in the experts that we've referred to before.
We'll give you advice, but if the advice doesn't help, we have great professionals at the Inside Outside Guys. No matter what time of year it is, for housing information you can trust, go to the InsideOutsideGuys.com.
Sponsored by Metro Electric.
When it comes to your home's power, trust the team that's professional, licensed, and always there when you need them. Metro Electric. From panel upgrades to ceiling fan installation, EV chargers to whole home generators, Metro Electric handles all your electrical needs. Sign up now to get a new Generac home generator with a free 10-year warranty and $1,000 off. Metro Electric, Michigan's trusted source for safe and reliable service.
MetroElectricMichigan.com. WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster. I started Blindster in my garage back in 2010. Since then, we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Our blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
An accident on I-94 eastbound between Mount Elliott Street and Van Dyke is cleared. Seeing some residual backup from I-75. Look out for a wreck blocking your left lane on US 23 northbound at Silver Lake Road. You're slow from M36 there. Another wreck on I-275 northbound near I-696. And watch out for a wreck on the Jeffries eastbound off-ramp to the Southfield Freeway.
Really
That's blocking the right lane. You can still get through. Just going to take you a little bit longer. Now, WJR Weather First
from
from the
human
channel. Here's your
resources
forecast.
because we don't trust
Cold
that
weather
it's
continues
actually
to spill
human
in over the
resources.
next couple of days, really over the
No,
next
literally.
week.
This company has instilled
around
so much
15
fear
today,
into all of us
maybe a
that
little
we
bit higher
miss,
clouds
like,
this afternoon,
important
and
things
maybe a few snow
because we're
flurries.
too afraid
Could be a
to
little
click
light
on
snow late tonight
No,
into
I
that
like
morning
will
tomorrow.
never
Temperature less of
open
accumulation, but we're going to be
realistic, so
cold.
I'm
So
like,
keep
I
your
don't know
nights
if it's real or
few
not.
above, wind chills teens below zero tonight. Some of the suburbs will have air temperatures below
But now
zero.
that Ann has
Tomorrow
said
with
to
that
me,
snow
Mom,
ending,
look,
will be cloudy in the afternoon, breezy
I
at
would-
your 20. Wind chills in the teens below zero. Early, near zero tomorrow night. Wednesday, cloudy mid-teens. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Rich Taken on
infinitary
760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
So Ann and Finitary both sent it to me.
In a town built on
Okay,
purpose,
okay.
one voice that cuts through the noise. Afternoon.
Hey Danielle, how long could I go in this block if I really needed to finish a thought
It's JR
and have a coherent segment without making it choppy?
Hold on, because now this is I'm gonna say until 30.
760 WJR, some news breaking within the last hour regarding Minneapolis. And I'm going to just try to have as real a discussion with you as possible and
This is
encompass
not gonna work.
as much of the information as humanly
Yeah, that's a
possible, because
little
I think
awkward.
everybody can have their opinion on this situation in Minneapolis. I think this is
I mean,
the biggest story
realistically,
in the
work with
country
us
going on right now. Everybody
Yeah.
is talking about it. Friends are talking about it. Families are talking about it. And we'll give you as much of the information as we possibly can. And then whatever your opinion is, your opinion is. And I'm not going to try to change your opinion on anything. But this is what we know now. The White House press briefing happened within the last hour. Just as President Trump posted on his Truth Social, I'm going to just read it to you. It says, Governor Tim Walz called me with a request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him, and that what we are looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The governor very respectfully understood that, and I will be speaking with him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was coming to Minnesota, and so am I. We have had such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, and New Orleans, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, and virtually every other place that we have touched. And even in Minnesota, crime is way down, but Governor Walz and I want to make it better. That is the statement from the president. Tim Walz agreed that it was a very good call.
Yeah.
He posted on his
Carson
social
said he
media
was
page
editing
that
it,
as
like,
well. Now,
2 hours ago.
this followed the president
Yeah, that's
on
it. Oh.
Truth Social
Well,
earlier
I
in the
mean, like,
day
he doesn't really
said
need to have
that
edits of
he
it.
was
Like, we give
sending
him
Tom
the
Homan
portions of it,
to
so he just
Minnesota
needs to put them
tonight.
together.
He has not been involved in that area.
Yeah,
But
it should be
knows
good. We
and
got that
likes
done,
many
like,
people there. Tom is tough but
Yeah.
fair, and
So
he
I don't
will
know why he
report
waited till now to
directly to me.
put
Now,
all the
this
pieces
is
together.
after more unrest in Minneapolis. What happened over the weekend? Incredible stuff.
So,
Protesters last night
it's not gonna
swarmed
be in
a
here.
Hilton hotel that
I think he's
was
doing it right
believed to be housing
Or he's
ICE
putting
agents.
in focus.
Now, for weeks, agitators have been doing
'cause
this,
all that's
smashing
in here so
windows
far
and
is-
doing whatever they wanted to do to
My
prevent
grandma is
these
he's not-
ICE agents
Yeah.
from getting sleep. This latest round of unrest, obviously, it comes after the weekend in which another shooting, 37-year-old Alex Preddy was killed, shot and killed by a federal agent. Plenty of videos of what happened have been circulating. Now, this is the part that I think is as useful of information as there is. Fox's Bill Malugin, who I think is among the best reporters and has the best sources of anybody at CBP, anybody with ICE. This guy has been on it. He has covered the border unlike anybody has covered the border over the last 3 or 4 years, and he's as dialed in as anybody to this stuff. He is reporting that there is a lot of frustration involved from federal sources, including several in senior positions in immigration enforcement. He says they are growing increasingly uneasy with the initial claims and narratives of DHS right after the shooting, specifically that Preddy was there to, quote unquote, conduct a massacre or wanted to carry out maximum damage. They say that the messaging from DHS has been catastrophic from a PR and morale standpoint, to the point of comparing it to the way Democrats said that the border was sealed under Joe Biden. They say that DHS is making the situation worse. Now, these sources that Malugin has been talking to say the investigation is over. When the investigation is over, they believe this is going to wind up being a quote unquote bad shoot or a crappy situation. And they don't use the word crappy. Now, to the best of everybody's knowledge, what they believe likely happened in the shooting with Alex Preddy that killed him was that agents are heard saying gun, gun. And there was an accidental discharge of the weapon when the agent recovered Preddy's gun. And when that accidental discharge happened, it spooked an agent and they shot. In the split second, the agents do not have the luxury of multiple angles or multiple slow motion replays. They have a split decision to make a decision, and it was just a crappy situation. And all of the video evidence appears to point to that. The agent recovers the gun and it goes off. And I do believe the video supports that, at least what we know right now. And Malugin said that all of these agents still support the mass deportation angle, but have serious hesitation of how it's being carried out. And I think the most reasonable person if you watch the video, can see this is probably going to be just a downright terrible, bad situation. A bad shoot, as these officers are telling Bill Melugin, or at least as Bill Melugin is reporting it. And I think that is the likely case. The gun was recovered. They're yelling, gun, gun, gun. There was an accidental discharge of the weapon. And once that accidental discharge happened, somebody got spooked and started firing. And look, the battle lines have been drawn. Everybody has gone into their own camp, and nobody's probably changing their mind. I'm just giving you the most reasonable conversation I can about this. I'm not a big fan of both sides guy, but I think we are seeing both sides are responsible here with their rhetoric. You've got the liberals calling ICE agents Nazis, and they are calling ICE agents Nazis. Here's Governor Tim Walz.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota. And there's one person who can end this now.
You've got Tim Walz comparing innocent Jewish kids to criminal illegals in Minneapolis. And then you've got DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who is increasingly becoming a problem with her rhetoric.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
No, he won't. That's just not true. That's just not true. And the doubling down from Kristi Noem is not helping the cause. And I think a conversation can absolutely be had as to why this is happening in Minneapolis and only in Minneapolis and nowhere else in the country. This violence did start happening when the fraud was uncovered in that city and in that state. And there's no doubt this is coordinated. Listen to Alexis McAdams. This is a week ago. This is Alexis McAdams, Fox News reporter on the ground from last week. Listen to her characterization of the protest in Minneapolis.
What sticks out to me from covering these protests the past several days in Minneapolis is just how organized these protesters are. We talked about the ICE Watch Group. These people have spotters, Sean, all over the city. So they see who pulls in and out of the federal building, whether they're ICE agents or not. They want to track you down. They want to put you in a database, and then it's shared according to DHS sources through signal chat. So that's what sticks out to me about this. They're angry, they're motivated, and they have a message to these ICE agents that they don't want them in the city of Minneapolis.
So the way this is being covered as well, the shooting on Saturday, we're going to dive into that next. And I will take your thoughts on it as well. I've got a couple of segments to get your calls, have you weigh in on this. But I think that is the best way I can characterize it. And we'll continue this. We'll do that next. 760 WJR.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway, frustrating sand or bird feed to help with traction. Smelly puppy paws, well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19 or just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Ad paid for by Anthem Food Services. Attention. If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000.
We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-245-7095 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-245-7095. That's 800-245-7095. Again, 800-245-7095.
Governor Tim Walz' tensions in Minneapolis flared again over the weekend. Border Patrol agent Sean killed ICU nurse Alex Preddy. Agents claiming he approached them with a handgun. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt calling on Governor Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry to put in what she called a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota.
If Governor Walz and Mayor Fry implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota.
Big snow across the country this weekend, including in New York City, where Mayor Mabdani said, stay home again today.
Our goal is for all services to be fully restored by tomorrow, with all streets cleared, students back at school in person, and our city back to normal, albeit with a lot of snow piled up.
America's listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Sponsored by Nika, IBEW, Local 58, out of the power unit team with IBEW 58 skilled electricians, and Nika, signatory contractors for your next commercial, industrial, public, or residential construction project. The best electricians, the best electrical contractors, period. Learn more at poweringmichigansfuture.com. We still have that wreck on I-94 westbound at the Southfield Freeway that's blocking your right lane. Some good news, that accident on I-96 eastbound at Greenfield Road is cleared. US 23 northbound before Silver Lake Road. Steer clear of a wreck blocking your left lane there. That's also slowing you down from M36. We have an accident on the Jeffries eastbound off-ramp to the Southfield Freeway. That's blocking right lane. And that accident on I-275 northbound near I-696 is cleared. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Cloudy skies today, a high of 18. A few flurries or snow showers possible for tonight with a low of 1. Scattered snow showers tomorrow morning, partly cloudy for the afternoon with a high of 17. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Hi, it's Paul W. It's January, the month when many of us vow to eat healthier, exercise more, and take better care of ourselves. Well, if you're starting the new year getting injections, popping pills, or worse, facing surgery for chronic back, neck, or knee pain, I promise you, the best New Year's resolution you can make is to call Dr. Saul Kogan at the Nerve and Disc Institute. His all-natural, non-invasive, and non-surgical intradisc nutrosis treatment for neuropathy, sciatica, spinal stenosis, or bulging herniated and degenerative discs, and his Knee Restore RX treatment has helped thousands reduce or get rid of their pain, as well as avoid surgery without downtime. The first 50 new patients who mention WJR will get 50% off their treatment plan. Start 2026 off right. Call the Nerve and Disc Institute in Farmington, Clinton Township, and Grand Blanc. The call is painless, and soon your life can be too. Call 586-416-DISC, 586-416-3472.
Well, it's wintertime out there, and this is the time of year we get some very specific emails at the InsideOutsideGuys.com. Like, why can't I keep my home warm?
Or why are my windows full of condensation? Ken and I have answers to all of those things, and most of them are found in the experts that we refer to people.
We'll give you advice, but if the advice doesn't help, we have great professionals at the Inside Outside Guys. No matter what time of year it is, for housing information you can trust, go to the InsideOutsideGuys.com.
Sponsored by Calculus Foundation Repair and Waterproofing.
It's Rich Piccarelli, owner of Calculus Foundation Repair and Waterproofing. With over 30 years of experience in fixing foundations across Metro Detroit, I know what it takes to keep your home solid and dry. We are local, affordable, and professional, fully licensed and insured. Whether it's helical pier installation, interior or exterior waterproofing, crawl space repair, wall bracing, or crack injections, Calculus has the right solution for you. For all your foundation issues, schedule today at CalculusFoundation.com. That's CalculusFoundation.com. A strong foundation starts with Calculus.
You drive past them every day. The historic buildings, the monuments, the landmarks. But do you know the secrets they hold? Every iconic corner of our city has an untold story. From the surprising history of the Detroit salt mines to the legends who rocked the Grandie Ballroom and the true legacy of the Joe Louis Fist. It's time to look closer. Join historian Dr. Robert Livernoy as he uncovers the fascinating truths lying just beneath the surface on the Hidden in Plain Sight podcast. Find Hidden in Plain Sight with Dr. Robert Livernoy at thegreatvoice.com.
Wake up tomorrow with JR Morning with Chris Renwick, Lloyd Jackson, and Jamie Edmonds on 760 WJR. Right now, it's JR Afternoon with Ryan Ermanni.
Just to reset it for you, we are continuing to talk about the situation in Minneapolis over the weekend in which a 37-year-old Alex Preddy was shot and killed by a federal agent. Bill Malugin from Fox News reporting that there is some unrest within federal authorities within ICE because of how DHS is talking about these operations and what they believe happened here. And there is an investigation, and this can always change. This can always change because the investigation is not complete yet. But what they believe happened with this shooting was that it will ultimately be what they call a bad shoot, just a downright crappy situation. And they used a different word than crappy that I cannot say on these airwaves. They believe that an agent recovered the weapon off of Preddy, and agents are saying, gun, gun, gun. There was an accidental discharge of the weapon. And once that happened, that spooked somebody else. And you only get a split second to decide what's going on here. You don't have the benefit of multiple slow motion replays from multiple different angles. And it will ultimately be a bad shoot. That's what they believe. That's what Bill Malugin is reporting from Fox News on what he says is a growing frustration within federal sources, including some sources. So there's that on the table. But one of the things I want to talk about as well, and everybody's talking about the temperature, bring the temperature down, bring the temperature down. What does that mean? It's hard to do that when you're not getting much help anywhere else. The way this stuff is covered is so polarizing. I mean, the Washington Post push notification the other night was ICU nurse fatally shot by federal agents in Minneapolis, cared for veterans. You know who else was a nurse or a nursing student? Laken Riley, who was killed by an illegal immigrant while jogging, attacked and dragged into a wooded area, bludgeoned to death. There were no protests. There was no one attacked, no mainstream media attention. In fact, the only mainstream media attention that Laken Riley got was how about the right, how conservatives wanted to use her death to fuel a narrative. Here's Erin Burnett on CNN.
You hear the former president and then his allies repeatedly try to make Ashley Babbitt a martyr, say that she was literally murdered by police. That is the word that he uses. How much do you think this narrative, those words, put your officers at risk?
Now, that's exactly what CNN, ABC, CBS, Washington Post, New York Times, and everybody is trying to do with Alex Preddy. Exactly turning him into what they accused of the right of doing with Laken Riley. And it is incredible. But before all of this played out on Saturday morning, Bill Maher on Friday night on his real-time show said this about how we consume information.
Everybody, left and right, is only half informed. So I'm constantly hearing, no, I didn't hear that part. News feeds, they're like high-priced fetish escorts. They understand their whole job is to give it to you just how you like it.
We live in this information vacuum where each side is only getting half the story. And what we haven't done, we are not considering what the other side is saying. Rewriting history is also not very helpful. Former President Bill Clinton chiming in with his 2 cents on what happened on Saturday, writing a statement on the horrible scenes playing out in Minneapolis. He said, of course, over the lifetime, we face only a few moments where decisions we make and actions we take will shape our history for years to come. This is one of them, talking about Minneapolis. Anybody remember this? And if you're watching on YouTube, which you can do at WJR, 760 WJR on YouTube, or you're watching on Facebook, I'm holding up a picture of a federal agent pointing an automatic weapon at 5-year-old Elian Gonzalez, the 5-year-old Cuban boy at the center of a custody battle. President Clinton and the U.S. government decided that the boy had to be shipped back to Cuba, and an armed federal agent pointing a gun at a terrified boy in a closet became one of the most iconic images in modern history. This you, Bill? Is this you, Bill Clinton criticizing what's happening now? That's pretty rich. Or former President Barack Obama, who wrote a lengthy statement that includes the killing of Alex Preddy is a heartbreaking tragedy. It is also a wake-up call to every American, regardless of party, that many of our core issues, core values as a nation are increasingly under assault. That sounds much different than when he was in charge in 2013.
We have certain obligations to enforce the laws that are in place, even if we think that in many cases the results may be tragic. There are going to be some stories that break our hearts. And more importantly, we're going to continue to have an economy that is stifled by a really inefficient system where not only are we deporting folks, but we also have a legal immigration system that is so bottlenecked that it forces sometimes people into the illegal system.
I raise these questions and I raise these things. I talk about Elian Gonzalez and I play the soundbite from President Obama in 2013 because I don't believe they're helping the situation at all. Everybody is trying to drum up their base and go in their camp and create more of this chaos. And it is chaos. And it does seem like it's only happening in Minneapolis. And you have to ask yourself, why is this only happening in Minneapolis right now? We'll see if the governor and the president can come to some type of agreement. And if you're just tuning in, they did have a phone call today, and both men released statements about the phone call saying it was a good call and they both want the same thing, and we'll see if they can work together on that. We'll see if that happens. 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. Let me take a phone call here before I get to a break here. Let me get to Vance in Northville. You're on 760 WJR. How you doing, Vance?
Doing good, sir. Hey, it is a tragedy for that young man to lose his life, just like it was that young lady in the car to lose her life.
100%.
Okay, I get it, man. I totally get it. But let's be realistic, okay? The only reason that this is happening is the police force and law enforcement in the sanctuary city are not effective. They're not doing their job. The only reason that the government is stepping in is because they're ineffective. Okay, in the military we call it combat ineffective. Okay, they're just not doing their job. Okay, this has to happen. The other reason is we've got 20 million people in this country that we don't know about. Okay, guess what? This has to be done. And to anybody out there that wants to be a protester, fine, write a letter, send an email. But man, don't impede law enforcement. They've got a job to do. As much as I hate to see this young man lose his life, and as a veteran, he helped veterans. I've seen the video of the speech over the veteran that had passed away, and I really thank him for doing that for my brothers and sisters. But guess what? It didn't belong out there. All the people out there protesting with the whistles and everything, do yourself a favor. Get out of there. Let them do their job, because this is going to happen again.
Well,
These guys are stressed out.
we hope it doesn't. Vance, I'm up against a break here. Everybody on hold, I'll get to you at the top of the hour. We'll do more phone calls on this at the top of the hour. We're going to change it up. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to talk to Dr. Michael Lutz, president of the Michigan Men's Health Foundation. What about wearables? Are they accurate? Is this something everybody should be interested in? We'll talk about that, talking about your health. and we'll get back to the situation in Minneapolis. Raj joining us at 3:18, 760 WJR.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 55 and with one of the big three carriers, like Verizon, you may notice they don't talk much about their 55 plus discounts. That's so customers like you keep paying their regular higher rates to boost their bottom line. You deserve better service, with 100% US-based experts, better value, with plans starting at $20, and a company that's built for people 50 plus, like me. Not convinced? Give your current carrier a call. Ask about the 55 plus plan you've earned. See how long it takes to get a real person on the line, and if they try to talk you out of it. But if you want something better, call Consumer Cellular. We've got the same great coverage, and our US-based experts can get you switched in about 20 minutes. Switch now to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com for your second month free.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Join Kelly Cobb and Jarrett Skurup along with special guests as they tackle the issues Michigan residents are thinking about on the Mackinac on Michigan show this Thursday night at 7. They take a deep dive on the issues that affect every resident and business owner in the state. What will you need to know? Find out on the Mackinac on Michigan show this Thursday at 7 p.m. The Mackinac on Michigan show is presented by the Frank Beckman Center for Journalism and the Mackinac Center for Public Policy.
The American Red Cross is facing a severe blood shortage, and donors are needed right now to make sure life-saving care isn't delayed for accident victims, surgery patients, and those facing critical treatments for cancer and chronic blood disorders. The Red Cross blood supply has dropped about 35% in recent weeks. There's no time to wait. Make an appointment today to give blood by using the Red Cross Blood Donor app, visiting redcrossblood.org, or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS to schedule your donation. Take action and help save lives.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about. But if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster. I started Blindster in my garage back in 2010. Since then, we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Our blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by PM Technologies. Is your home standby generator surviving the winter? Has the oil been changed and the battery checked or replaced? Make sure you let PM Technologies take care of your generator so that you're ready for the winter. Visit pmtech.org, that's pmtech.org, to schedule your PM Technologies generator maintenance today. That wreck on I-96 eastbound of Greenfield Road is cleared. Still have that accident on the Jeffries eastbound to the Southfield Freeway. US 23 northbound before Silver Lake Road. We've got some stop and go there from M36 due to a wreck. And that accident on I-94 westbound at the Southfield Freeway has cleared. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Here's your forecast.
Not a bunch of precipitation around, but there will be some. It's really the bitter cold that's going to get us here next couple of days. Actually going to be a cold week. Mid-teens today, cloudy this afternoon, a few snow flurries. At times, wind chills could be below zero, especially earlier in the day. Little light snow later tonight, early tomorrow, down around zero or just above. Suburbs below zero. Wind chills in the teens below zero with a cold weather advisory. Tomorrow, snow land, inch or less of accumulation, high near 20. Little breezy as we go through the day. Tomorrow night, we're down near zero. Wednesday, cloudy, high in the middle teens. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagicon, 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
Call us or text us. The number's the same.
1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law, Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
$760 WJR. It is a Men's Health Monday. Dr. Michael Lutz, president of the Men's Health Foundation, Michigan, joins us. Hey, Doc, how you doing, man?
Hey, great to be here.
It's great to have you here, and we're going to jump right into it because one of the things that we discussed at the end of our segment last week was all of the wearables. I see Oura Rings on everybody. I see, Apple Watches on everybody, and just big picture look at the wearables. Good thing, positive thing to know your numbers continuously like that. What say you?
I think they're great
Yeah.
because you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And these things give you knowledge, and knowledge is power. And the more you know about yourself, the more you can react appropriately and do the right things.
Talk to me about the accuracy of the numbers we're seeing on the Apple Watch and the Oura Ring, and maybe not to lump them both into one, but those seem like the two most popular. I know the Garmin watches are very popular as well, but I see those Oura Rings everywhere, and I sell them at Costco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the accuracy depends upon what we're talking about. One thing that almost all of these devices have is heart rate monitoring. And heart rate monitoring is ideally from a chest strap, but doing it as a wrist measurement or off the finger can be reasonably accurate. And so you should use it as kind of as a reference point.
I know the two co-hosts that I work with on Fox 2 every morning, they talk about their sleep score incessantly. What does that mean, the sleep score?
I'm not buying the accuracy of the sleep score. I use mine every night and I look at it, and I always try to test myself to see if I can guess what my sleep score was. And I'm typically wrong, because it looks at things like, how long you've been awake, and it measures when you went to sleep, when you wake up. Well, sometimes if you're still before you go to bed, it almost measures that as your time that you went to bed versus when you actually went to bed and went to sleep. So it's not as accurate as you might think.
What about the behavioral modifications? Meaning, like, I know my wife wears an Apple Watch, and if she's sitting too long, it'll say something of the effect of, "You're sitting too long, get up and move," or something like that. It gets you to change your behavior a little bit, does it not?
That's the part I like best. The things that actually are motivational tools, things that have you do certain activities every hour, keeps you movement, gives you incentives, like gives you awards or acknowledgement if you've had so many steps or accomplishments in one day. I think that's great, to use that. There are also apps that you can connect to them. There's like these diet and fitness apps that are in conjunction with these tools that are just great. So if you want to keep track of your calories consumed and measure your calories burned, so you can actually really monitor your virtual daily lifestyle.
Do we know how they work? Like, how does an Oura Ring know what my heart rate is? I mean, it's not to be skeptical of it, but it feels like, how in the world do you know?
Well, I can measuring your pulse and measuring your oxygen saturation; those are pretty straightforward. But things when it starts measuring your mood,
yeah,
or your sense of rest or wellness, that's when it starts getting into a little bit of the hocus pocus in my brain. I'm not that smart in this part, so I'm not really sure. But what I think is really kind of cool, and the upside of really having all this, is that it really will integrate the way we do things at home and gives us more health awareness so that we're perhaps more engaged in our health and well-being.
Yeah, and I think that's the main benefit of it, though, right? I mean, I know when I do my step counter, I have a pedometer on my phone. In the summer or whenever I'm walking the dog, I want my 10,000 steps. And if I'm close, if I'm like 7,000, 8,000, I'm going to get that 10,000. I mean, it does act as a motivator to get you to reach a goal, I think, anyway.
And it does. It does. It's a great tool for incentivization, and it gets you to behave better and act better. And as a result, you'll be better.
Do you think being too obsessed with the numbers, though, would act as potentially a part of the downfall or downside, I guess I'm trying to say, of something like these wearables?
I think a lot of it depends on your personality.
Yeah.
If you obsess on it and you take it too negatively versus positively, then it's an absolutely poor tool for you.
For instance, if you got a good night's sleep or whatever, and the sleep score indicated you did not get a good night's sleep, so then you're, well, maybe I am dragging today. Maybe the phone tells you how you feel instead of you telling yourself how you feel.
I agree with you 100% on that one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're talking to Dr. Michael Lutz, the president of the Michigan Men's Health Foundation. Talk to me about the Garmin. Is that watch much different from some of the things that we see in the Apple Watch or on the Aura Ring, or is it all somewhat similar?
Well, if you're really into fitness, exercise, and activity, as I am, I live on my Garmin watch, and I use it really vigorously because it really does a great job. It uses incredible satellite technology, so it can really track your sports and your activities well. It has a great VO2 max calculation tool. And what I love is that it has all the different sports and activities. And so you can instantly just connect with all of your sports, especially, I like to golf periodically. It'll instantly hook up to any golf course and you can use it as a yardage finder. So there's a lot of great apps and tools on the Garmin device. And as I said before, it does connect to, your diet and lifestyle behavior patterns. So it adds a lot of different facets.
When you talk about a stress calculator that some of these different wearables have, would you say that it just takes those numbers to define whether or not you have a lot of stress in your life?
I think what it does is it looks at aspect of like what your heart rate is, what your activity level is, and then it also measures your body temperature. And so I think it looks at factors like that and it calculates out your stress levels.
Final thought on it. Good problem to have. It's something good to continuously talk about your health and to be cognizant of what your numbers are. Is that the big picture look though?
It is. And what I think I like most is it kind of gives you a sense of what your fitness age is. One of the things I really appreciate in the Garmin device that I look at is that it takes all of my activity levels and my heart rate and all my other fitness moves and my VO2 max and my O2 saturation and says, right now, your fitness age is at 57.5. So although I'm 69, it says I'm actually functioning like a 57-and-a-half-year-old man.
Well, there's no doubt about that, Di. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised. You said 47-year-old man.
That was 10 years ago.
The great Dr. Michael Lutz of the Michigan Men's Health Foundation. Thanks, Doc. It's a Men's Health Monday. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet. Thanks so much.
You got it. Coming up top of the hour, we'll take some of your calls as well here in Roop Raj coming up 3:18, 760 WJR.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 55 and with one of the big three carriers, like Verizon, you may notice they don't talk much about their 55 plus discounts. That's so customers like you keep paying their regular higher rates to boost their bottom line. You deserve better service with 100% US-based experts, better value with plans starting at $20, and a company that's built for people 50 plus, like me. Not convinced? Give your current carrier a call. Ask about the 55 plus plan you've earned. See how long it takes to get a real person on the line, and if they try to talk you out of it. But if you want something better, call Consumer Cellular. We've got the same great coverage, and our US-based experts can get you switched in about 20 minutes. Switch now to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com for your second month free.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Catch School Talks with Dr. Robert Livernoy.
This week on the program, we'll chat with the Michigan Science Center and hear about the newly renovated planetarium and all the places you can travel in outer space on a spaceship.
We're flying out through the rings of Saturn. We're flying out to the Orion Nebula. We're flying out to globular clusters or the black hole that's at the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
School Talks, Sundays at 3 on WJR. WJR, Detroit.
Outreach and pushback from the White House. Lisa Brady, Fox News. After a second deadly shooting in Minnesota, spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says no one at the White House wants people getting killed in the street.
But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota.
She accuses city and state leaders of creating dangerous conditions and says during a call with Minnesota's governor today, President Trump urged cooperation between federal and state law enforcement. The president also announcing he's sending border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota to oversee operations. The governor's office says the call was productive, but that Minnesota's corrections department already honors federal detainers for illegal immigrants in state custody, and that the governor urged impartial investigations of the Minneapolis shootings. Some Democrats in Congress want a Homeland Security bill rewritten and separated from a package of spending bills heading for a Senate vote to avoid a government shutdown later this week. The mayor of Oxford, Mississippi, says damage from a winter storm looks like a tornado hit, with trees and power lines snapped by ice.
There's no doubt that Oxford, the city, Lafayette, the county, and the surrounding counties took a major blow.
And Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves just telling Fox that with historically low temperatures continuing for now,
it's going to take days, not a matter of hours, to get power back restored to everyone. That's our primary goal at this time.
More than 700,000 without power today across the South, while 18 states dig out for more than a foot of snow, the most in several years for parts of the Northeast. We're just getting word that the University of Mississippi is now closing the Oxford campus for the week because of dangerous ice. America is listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
That accident on I-94 westbound at the Southfield Freeway is cleared. We still have that accident on US 23 northbound just before Silver Lake Road. That's causing stop-and-go traffic from M36. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Cloudy skies today, a high of 18. A few flurries or snow showers possible for tonight with a low of 1. Scattered snow showers tomorrow morning. Partly cloudy for the afternoon with a high of 17. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
When the deals drop at Kohl's, you feel it. You see up to 50% off end-of-season must-haves, plus up to 85% off clearance favorites. And suddenly, your whole world narrows to one thought. Must shop now. Your to-do list gone. Your dinner plans forgotten. It's just you and your cart gliding through the store. Yeah, Kohl's deals will do that to a person. Save in-store and online now. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Listen for the SAE Ion Engineering every Monday morning on JR Morning. Ion Engineering is sponsored by CSP, the Composite Solutions Partner, an industry leader in lightweighting and advanced composites. Learn more at thecsp.com.
No matter where you look, rising costs are hitting Michiganders hard. When you're forced to make tough choices, keeping the lights and heat on shouldn't be one of them. Consumers Energy is stepping up, giving back $5 million to assistance agencies and supporting efforts to increase energy assistance dollars for families in need by 50%. And with personalized energy saving programs, you can take steps to start reducing your energy bills today. Count on Consumers Energy for support. Learn more at consumersenergy.com/help.
You served behind the desk. You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted. You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
It's more than news. It's a conversation. This is JR Afternoon on WJR. Here's Ryan Ermanni.
Hour number 2 of the program here on a Monday, January 26th, 760 WJR. Lots of news to get to. Perhaps no bigger local story than the weather. And to help us talk about that, we are going to head out to WJR's Marie Osborne. The impact of this weekend's winter storm will be felt for days, weeks, and even months. Ice storms, heavy snowfall, power outages, airline delays being felt in a large portion of the country. WJR's Marie Osborne takes a look at the Detroit area, not out of the woods, yet it feels, Marie, like there is no end in sight. This is insane.
I know. I got a great meme from one of my girlfriends today saying, can our free sample of Alaska weather, can we opt out of it now? Yes. So I think
Send
we're all
back.
Yeah. Hello. Thanks. We've had enough. Yeah. But you know what? It's not early. You might have heard Rich mention that our low tonight was going to be like 1 degree. So we have a cold weather advisory. It goes into effect for all of Southeast Michigan, starts at 7 o'clock tonight through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And this is just for the first round of dangerously cold wind chills this week. There will be many more, and we may see more school closings again tomorrow. Now, nationally, 90 million people are under extreme cold watches and warnings. That raises, of course, fears for people who are outside living without shelter or without power for days. The storm dumping snow and ice across a big portion of the United States. So far, the death toll from this storm stands at 18 this afternoon. More than 800,000 people are still without power. And one of the states hardest hit is Tennessee. Here's the governor there, Bill Lee.
When you have this many hundreds of thousands of people with no power and it's single digit temperatures outside, obviously it's very dangerous. And our primary focus is life and the security of people's lives.
Now, over 19,000 flights had been canceled in the last few days. Here's an example at Ronald Reagan National Airport in D.C. Nearly all of the departing flights scheduled for the day yesterday, 414 flights, 97% of them had to be canceled. Here's the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy.
Since COVID, March of 2020. And there's a number of reasons for that, Joey. We have, snow, ice, but also just like we tell people not to travel on our roadways, to be cautious, we have staffing issues, whether it's our controllers, our pilots.
Right. And they need to get the crews all in the right places for when the flights begin taking off again. Some, of course, are doing that today. Most airlines have issued flight vouchers for travelers. And one last note, Ryan, the FAA says 7 people were killed and a crew member did survive with serious injuries. This is after a private business jet crashed in a snowstorm at Maine's Bangor International Airport. So this weather has been really difficult for a lot of people.
And it just feels like there's no end in sight. I mean, I think of the over 550 schools that canceled today, and I'm not sure it's going to be much better at any point this week. You're talking about lows -5, -10, -20. Still, when it comes to the wind chill, I don't know. Do you go back to school? I guess you do, but I know in New York what they did. Look, a lot of people probably that listen to this radio show don't agree with Zoran Mandani on a lot of stuff, but I think he did the right thing in New York. Those kids are going to school virtually. It's a school day. It's a school day, and instead of having a traditional snow day, do a little bit of virtual school. Why not? I mean, it's better that than to start adding days at the end of the year.
Oh yeah. And plus if you're looking, one day we can that's not an issue. But if you're looking at multiple days, like we might be
Yes.
this week, this week, then I think
Yes.
you can pick up a few virtually and get some school time hours in, which is so important for the kids.
That is absolutely the point there, Marie. Thanks so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Stay warm.
Thank you. I
Oh
will.
man, it's interesting. It's so cold out there. Makes me not want to do anything, but nonetheless, guys, we'll get into our top story of the day in the country. Of course, President Trump and Governor Tim Walz had a conversation today. They spoke, and they both have released statements and said it was a pretty productive call, pretty good call. Tom Homan is on his way right now as we speak to Minneapolis. He will report directly to the president. Governor Walz says he's pretty good with that. So we may be getting some progress in terms of working together. We'll see what happens from here on in. But nonetheless, a little bit of hope anyway that we are coming to some sort of a resolution in Minneapolis, because what's happening on the streets there is just, it's not good for anybody. Nobody likes to see it. It's not productive. And it's really becoming a tenuous situation, not only there, but in the country as well. Rod's been hanging on an awful long time. I want to get to him before the break. Rod in Plymouth, you're on 760 WJR. How you doing, Rod?
Good, Ryan. Thanks. I agree with what Bill Clinton had to say and Caroline Leavitt. Actions do have everlasting consequences. And honestly, it's the early incompetence of the Joe Biden Harris leadership that allowed and even encouraged everyone to come in. They promoted this illegal entry into the country, and that included a whole lot of criminals who raped, who sex trafficked, who murdered, who brought in fentanyl, that killed, murdered over 100,000 of our citizens. And they will do nothing to help clean it up, but stand by and hope that someone like this particular individual gets whatever happens. There's a lot of angles to this last killing. It has to stop. He shouldn't have died. And there's a lot of ugliness in it.
Well, there are a lot of different angles to this story with Alex Priddy, and I will tell you what Bill Malugin from Fox News reported yesterday was that he has spoken with several federal sources, and these are including senior sources. Senior sources. Thanks so much for the call, Rod. Yeah, there you go. I was just getting that in my ear. Is bothering me, sorry. But he's talked to several senior sources, and they are growing uneasy with the way DHS is handling these claims. The narratives of DHS immediately after the shooting saying that Priddy was there to conduct a massacre or wanted to carry out maximum damage, they don't believe that is the case. They believe when the investigation is complete, and again, this can totally change, because the more information you have, the better informed your opinion can be. However, to the best of this knowledge, it is that these federal agents believe this is going to wind up being a quote-unquote bad shoot, a crappy situation. They believe what likely happened was that the agents heard gun, and there was an accidental discharge of that weapon when it was recovered off of Priddy. And then that spooked an agent who began firing. Just a totally crappy situation. How do you cover it when everybody is in their own camp? We're going to talk to Fox 2's Roop Raj. She is the anchor and host of The Pulse on Fox 2 News. It's the only local television news nightly political show. He's doing a great job with it, delivering news in an impartial way. We'll have the latest with him on how he goes about doing that. Coming up next, 760 WJR.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 55 and with one of the big three carriers, like Verizon, you may notice they don't talk much about their 55 plus discounts. That's so customers like you keep paying their regular higher rates to boost their bottom line. You deserve better service. With 100% US-based experts, better value, with plans starting at $20, and a company that's built for people 50 plus, like me. Not convinced? Give your current carrier a call. Ask about the 55 plus plan you've earned. See how long it takes to get a real person on the line, and if they try to talk you out of it. But if you want something better, call Consumer Cellular. We've got the same great coverage, and our US-based experts can get you switched in about 20 minutes. Switch now to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Hi, Rube. It's Beth Ann from WJR.
Hey, how are you? Other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Can you hear me?
Not sure how
Yes,
to
we can hear you.
tackle your
Perfect.
taxes? Are you skipping the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The CJ Pearson Show.
Every week, we'll take on the biggest cultural, political, and moral battles in America head on.
CJ presents the most passionate voices in the Black community.
When you're going around and talking to people in actual communities, you get to know what people actually care about.
As a Black man, why can't I be the first one in my family to graduate from college? Why can't it be me? Shift the way that I think about the world.
Bold truth, real conviction, zero permission. This is the CJ Pearson Show.
The CJ Pearson Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Join Jack Krasula every Saturday night at 10 p.m. for Anything is Possible. Jack presents uplifting stories of some of the world's most remarkable people and their extraordinary life journeys. Anything is Possible with Jack Krasula, sponsored by St. John's Resort.
There's a moment when a rescue looks at you like you're their whole world, and suddenly your heart's doing backflips. At Friends for Animals, we live for that moment. It shows up in wagging tails, zoomies, and sloppy kisses. And somehow every day still feels like a first date with love. Because the second you open your heart, something unconditional gets unleashed. Friends for Animals, all for love. Help us keep the love going. Visit metrodetroitanimals.org.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Refresh your bathroom with big savings at Lowe's. Reimagine your bathroom and get up to 40% off select faucets during Lowe's Bath Savings event and transform your space. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
We have an accident on the Lodge southbound at 10 Mile. Another wreck on US 23 northbound before Silver Lake Road. That's causing stop and go from M36. Looks like it's blocking your left lane there. And steer clear of a wreck blocking your right shoulder on the Lodge northbound after I-75. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Here's your forecast.
Cold weather continues to spill in over the next couple of days, really over the next week. Going to be a cold week coming up. Around 15 today, maybe a little bit higher. Clouds this afternoon and maybe a few snow flurries. Could be a little light snow late tonight into about mid-morning tomorrow. An inch or less of accumulation, but we're going to be cold, so it could get icy. 2 above, wind chills teens below zero tonight. Some of the suburbs will have air temperatures below zero. Tomorrow, with that snow ending, will be cloudy in the afternoon, breezy and a high near 20. Wind chills in the teens below zero early, near zero tomorrow night. Wednesday, cloudy mid-teens. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk. Not a bunch of precipitation around, but there will be some.
Award-winning journalist Kevin Dietz, breaking down the headlines Michiganders are talking about. Kevin talks, and then you talk on All Talk, 9 a.m. to noon on 760 WJR.
.760 WJR. We played this for you earlier in the show, but I think the way these news events are covered are so polarizing too. I mean, even you know the Washington Post with a push alert: ICU nurse fatally shot by federal agents in Minneapolis, cared for veterans. Depending upon which news source you watch, that is feeding you information. This is Bill Maher on Real Time from Friday night.
Everybody, left and right, is only half informed. So I'm constantly hearing, no, I didn't hear that part. News feeds. They're like high-priced fetish escorts. They understand their whole job is to give it to you just how you like it.
Now, somebody whose whole job is to give the whole story, he does that every weeknight. It is Detroit's only nightly political show on local news. The anchor and host of The Pulse, Fox 2's Roop Raj. Roop, thanks so much for the time, my friend. How are you?
It's always good to talk to you, Ryan. I love that Bill Maher clip that you just played. I couldn't agree more. You saw me smiling there because I feel like that's where we're stuck right now in that vortex. But man, it's cold outside, but your show's heating up. I love listening, and I think you do just a terrific job.
Well, I appreciate it. One of the things that I try to do here, Roop, and it's different than you, is I do give opinions here, and I think this in this format, we give the story. I have an opinion, and that's what it is. What you do is much different than that. You are trying to deliver. Well, I'll let you do it. You're trying to deliver the most impartial newscast that you can. How do you go about doing that in 2026, because it feels like everything is so polarizing?
I think you begin by understanding the difference between fairness and balance. I think that's the first thing. There's balance, which says if Ryan says the world is flat, and Ryan said the world is flat, and that is what he believes, no matter what you tell him, that's no matter how much science is behind it, he goes, no, damn it, that's what I believe, the world is flat. The balance in that story would say, let's spend half the time talking about how the world may be flat. And let's spend the other half talking about how the world is round. I think when you do that, you're doing a disservice to people at home. They depend on news people to go do the job that they're not able to do because they're working on the line. They're doctors, they're nurses, they're working at a fast food restaurant. They're busy, and all they have in front of them is this darn thing. And you just mentioned it, and it couldn't be more true that this feeds you what you want to know, not what you need to know. And I think it's important for people. They need to know the truth. Now, you may argue, wait a minute, Rube, the truth according to, look at what's happening in Minneapolis. What's the truth? The truth is in the video, but the truth is also in the minutes that led up to that shooting and the minutes of the shooting and the aftermath. The bottom line is this. Our job is complicated. It's not meant to be cut and dry. The world is flat. The world is round. But I use that example, Ryan, because I think it gives us an understanding. Balance is one thing. Fairness is another. And you have to know the difference and approach it every day to be fair. And that's what we try to do each and every night.
So what you do on the Pulse is, well, nobody else does this in the market. Nobody else has a nightly political show. What are some of the challenges that you have in doing that nightly, and how do you go about approaching what is news on any particular day? I think that is the biggest struggle that I get in even here. What is the news? You have 2 hours, you have 30 minutes. How do you carve out what the big story is?
You know, you listen to everybody. You listen to what people want to understand, not just what they want to know, what they need to know. I think, look, we do so much news. You do the morning part of it with the 9, and you guys do talk about serious issues on the 9 as well. And leading up to the 9 is 4 a.m. to 9, a 5-hour morning show that just feeds you headlines nationally, statewide, and local. We do the same thing. We look at everything that happened in the morning, everything that happened at 5 and 6 p.m. And out of that, we pick, look, who are the 3 people that we should be talking to today? It's not dissimilar than what you do. Who are the 3 people I need to talk to today to help unpack this? Look, today, let's give you an example. S.E. Cupp. She's a political contributor who is a conservative, but she doesn't support Donald Trump and the president in a lot of his efforts. We have her on. We're going to talk to her for 8 minutes. Am I just going to lob her softballs and allow her to say anything she wants? No, we're going to be challenging some of the things that she says and some of the things that she asserts. I think this whole, again, fairness and balancing, we got to have a Republican and a Democrat on so they can scream at each other. And at the end, everyone is just as confused as when they first started watching the show. We try to do the show a little bit differently. The biggest challenge of the show is doing exactly what you said, Ryan. You're right. Determining which is the big topic we're going to sit back and unpack. And we picked that. Today, the news wrote itself, sadly, because of what's happening in this world and in this country. We don't have to think about it. We know what the story is. But other days, we have to say, hey, guardrails. Should Dana Nessel, the Attorney General, for instance, be allowed to have unilateral power to check the feds? There's some legislation, by the way, right now, Ryan, that says maybe the legislature and maybe the governor should help decide how much money is spent from the AG's office investigating Donald Trump and the president and other things. So there's a lot of stories, and any given day we determine that's the one we're going to unpack for 8 minutes. And we do 2 other interviews as well.
And then, of course, as you just mentioned, Roop, you have stories that just are the big story in the country. Everybody is talking about what happened in Minneapolis, and it's the aftermath of what's happened, where everybody goes to their own camp, and everything becomes kind of the reverse. Right back in one of the examples that I gave earlier today, and I'll give it to you right now. The Washington Post came out with a push alert that ICU nurse was shot and killed by federal agents who cared for veterans. That was that. And you've got Democrats, many on the left, trying to turn Alex Priddy into a martyr. This is CNN, Aaron Burnett, talking about Laken Riley, who was a nursing student who was bludgeoned by and killed by a illegal immigrant. This is what Aaron Burnett had to say on CNN.
You hear the former president and then his allies repeatedly try to make Ashley Babbitt a martyr, say that she was literally murdered by police. That is the word that he uses. How much do you think this narrative, those words, put your officers at risk?
We just live in a reverse universe. The right tried to use Ashley Babbitt like the face of the illegal immigration push. Now the left will use these 2 killings of American citizens as the face of an anti-ICE movement. And how do you cut through that noise? Because it's just flipped on its axis from where we were 4 years ago.
You let the noise air out. You let it be. I think the one thing we have to be careful about, you and me and you and I and the rest of the people who are in our business, is to make sure we're not siphoning out thoughts. Again, legitimizing something that isn't true is not our job. But allowing people to understand that people are saying a certain thing is part of our truth. And it is our truth of this world, the divide that we live in, which, by the way, big tech has done no favors in by deriving algorithms that feed us more of what we hate and what we love, so that we love more of the puppy videos and we hate more of the people on the other side of the camp. They feed us that, right? So the bottom line is you allow those voices to have space. But I think what we do every night on The Pulse, which I really enjoy doing, although it's really difficult, is to be able to hold space for something that someone may not have thought about who's sitting in front of you. Ryan, listen, you and I have had so many discussions in the hallways of Fox 2 in the last 17 years that I've worked there, and you've been there for so many more years than me, where we can sit back and say, what do you think about this? And I say, Ryan, here's what I think. I'm not acting in the hallway at Fox 2, nor am I acting on the side of The Pulse when I say, maybe we should hear more about that other person. An inconvenient truth from someone who's sitting across from you, you don't want to hear it, but we have to be able to unpack it. Look, I looked at someone last week and I got hate mail from both sides. I got
you should read mine.
Both sides. I ended up saying this affordability issue, the president on one hand keeps saying it's a hoax and a Democratic hoax, but then goes out of his way to try to fix it.
Right.
So it's like a doctor saying, cancer, schmancer, what are you talking about? Okay, here's the plan. We're going to start with chemo and then we're going to do radiation. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? I mean, and I said that on my show. That's an opinion, Ryan. That is an opinion. I profess my opinion that this president understands there's an affordability crisis, insults the people who call it that, but then tries to fix it. And so when I said that, I also blamed Biden and Harris. I said,
right.
They didn't acknowledge him. And guess what happened? They lost the election because of that partner. So it's
Rube, I'll tell you, I say one good thing about the president, and boy, am I a Trumper. I say one bad thing, and I'm the worst person in the world, and I'm a left-leaning journalist just like the rest of them.
I am in any given moment, I'm a liberal hack, and then I'm a Trumpist on the other.
Right.
The bottom line is this: if you are after finding the truth in journalism, you should not be liked. If I wanted to please everybody, I'd serve ice cream for a living.
Right.
That's not what I'm doing. Right? That's not what I'm doing.
You are doing a heck of a job, Roop Raj. We are all proud of you, certainly at Fox 2. You're doing something that nobody is doing in local television, and you're doing a hell of a job, and we couldn't be more proud of the Pulse. You could watch Roop and the Pulse every night, 7:30 on Fox 2 Detroit, the Fox local app. Roop, anytime you have anything you want to discuss, please, you've got an open forum here. I love chatting with you, my friend.
Serving ice cream. What flavor would be today? Huh? No one wants ice cream today. Too darn cold, man.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. 760 WJR.
Hi, it's Paul W. It's January, the month when many of us vow to eat healthier.
Thanks so much, Roop. That was
exercise more,
great.
and take better
Thank
care
you.
of
Tell
ourselves.
Ryan thank you as well.
Well, if you're starting
Well,
the
for
new
sure. Have a
year
great day.
getting injections,
Yeah, you too.
popping pills, or worse, facing surgery for chronic back, neck, or knee pain, I promise you, the best New Year's resolution you can make is to call Dr. Saul Kogan at the Nerve and Disc Institute. His all-natural, non-invasive, and non-surgical intradisc nutrosis treatment for neuropathy, sciatica, spinal stenosis, or bulging herniated and degenerative discs, and his Knee Restore RX treatment has helped thousands reduce or get rid of their pain, as well as avoid surgery without downtime. The first 50 new patients who mention WJR will get 50% off their treatment plan. Start 2026 off right. Call the Nerve and Disc Institute in Farmington, Clinton Township, and Grand Blanc. The call is painless, and soon your life can be too. Call 586-416-DISC, 586-416-3472.
Following the second fatal shooting this month of an American by federal agents.
Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, this as a federal judge hears arguments on whether to halt the ICE crackdown in Minnesota. Impact from this weekend's brutal winter storm is far from over. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey.
West Virginia is dealing with a very dangerous cocktail of snow, of sleet, and ice, and then a lot of cold temperatures.
Many are forced to cope without power, with about 630,000 customers from West Virginia to Texas without electricity. America's listening to Fox News.
WJR traffic and weather first.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Whoever said opposites attract was definitely talking about the new spicy menu at DQ. Spicy flamethrower chicken strip served with a dip of sweet DQ soft serve. Sounds wrong, but tastes so right. The new spicy menu at DQ. Happy tastes good. For a limited time at participating locations.
Look out for an accident on I-275 northbound at I-696. We also have a wreck on the Lodge southbound at 10 Mile. That's causing stop-and-go traffic from Losser. Steer clear of an accident on US 23 northbound before Silver Lake Road. You're slow from M36 there. That's blocking your left lane. And another wreck on the Lodge northbound after I-75 blocks your right shoulder. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Cloudy skies today, a high of 18. A few flurries or snow showers possible for tonight with a low of 1. Scattered snow showers tomorrow morning. Partly cloudy for the afternoon with a high of 17. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR traffic and weather first.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Life is beautiful and fragile. We fall. We get tired. And sometimes we get sick. But with Corewell Health, we are also strong. We fight disease. We battle cancer. We come together. We come back. We push forward. When the body breaks, we break through. Corewell Health. We can.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Your child's education is the foundation for tomorrow's leaders. Listen every Sunday at 3 p.m. for School Talks, hosted by Dr. Robert Livernoy. A conversation on all things education, from parents and students to educators and policymakers. School Talks is dedicated to in-depth discussions and analysis with experts on a wide range of topics in education. Sponsored by Clark Construction Company, thoughtfully planning and building educational facilities to foster innovation where students and faculty thrive. Visit clarkcc.com.
I'm Dr. Phil Knight with my co-host Jerry Brisson. What if we told you hunger in America is a problem we can actually solve?
I'd believe it. That's the mission behind Food Secure Nation, our weekly broadcast where we sit down with leaders, innovators, and everyday heroes who are tackling food insecurity head on.
It's not just talk, it's action, inspiration, and a roadmap to a healthier, more dignified future for all. Even more, it gives us possibilities to help our neighbors who have a little more month than money.
And it's casual, humorous, and as you say, Doctor, puts the cookies on the right shelf so that everyone interested in a food secure nation can understand more and do better.
We welcome you to join the conversation.
Food Secure Nation, sponsored by Know Better, Do Better. This Sunday at a special time at noon, 760 WJR, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Wake up tomorrow with JR Morning with Chris Renwick, Lloyd Jackson, and Jamie Edmonds on 760 WJR. Right now, it's JR Afternoon with Ryan Ermanni.
Great conversation with Fox 2's Roop Raj, who anchors The Pulse and a newscast on Fox 2. And, you know, just trying to get the story right. And one of the things that I try to do here, to the best of my ability, and I really try to do this, is I try to tell the whole of the story. And then your opinion can be whatever your opinion is. And we welcome all opinions here. And if you've got any now, I've got an open segment for you if you want to weigh in. 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. I'll get you right up. But I think that's the one thing that is really missing in today's mainstream is you're just told part of the story. And I don't think I can play this segment, this soundbite enough, but this is Bill Maher on Friday night.
Everybody, left and right, is only half informed. So I'm constantly hearing, no, I didn't hear that part. News feeds, they're like high-priced fetish escorts. They understand their whole job is to give it to you just how you like it.
It is the job of a news feed to keep you online as long as they possibly can. And we want you to stay with us forever. And what that means is if we give you what you want, if we make sure you don't turn away, well, then that's a cha-ching. That's money in our pocket. And I think that's really lost on society today. I think that's really lost on the news media. And again, how this stuff is covered changes the course of people's behavior. I really do believe that's the case. 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0WJR. And I mentioned it, you know, President Clinton coming out with a statement about how terrible ICE agents are and how terrible the Trump administration is. And if you're watching on YouTube right now or Facebook Live, I'm holding up one of the most iconic images in the history of American news. And it's when a federal agent, a federal officer with with an automatic weapon is pointing it towards Elian Gonzalez, a 5-year-old boy in a closet in Miami. And for him to criticize anybody regarding how federal agents treat people, I think is completely not productive. And the same goes for the Obama administration, who deported more people than anybody over the course of the last 40 years. And why? Why is there only unrest in Minneapolis? I think that is a serious question. Why is it only happening there? We do have a response to this just in front of me. So earlier in the show, played a clip from Governor Walz. This was over the weekend. This was yesterday, actually. This is Tim Walz.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota. And there's one person who can end this now.
So the governor of Minnesota is comparing innocent Jewish kids to criminal illegals in Minneapolis. And just before me now, the U.S. Holocaust Museum has weighed in on this. They say Anne Frank was targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. Leaders making false equivalencies to her experience for political purposes is never acceptable. Despite tensions in Minneapolis, exploiting the Holocaust is deeply offensive, especially as anti-Semitism surges. So that is the response to Tim Walz's statement about Anne Frank over the weekend. And mind you, if you're just tuning in, I went after Kristi Noem, too. What she had to say.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
This is not a one-size-fits-all. This is not a one-sides-ism. Kristi Noem is not helping the situation at all. Period. End of story. And the doubling down of what she thinks happened on that morning in Minneapolis is not helping anybody. Now, at the White House press briefing today, Caroline Leavitt said the president still has confidence in Kristi Noem. But if you go by the reporting of Bill Malugin of Fox News, who I think is as good as anybody, I would put Bill Malugin's work on covering border agents and covering the border up against anybody covering anything. I think his sources are stellar. I think he is as impartial as it comes when it comes to just telling the story of what's going on. He did so at the border when he covered it for many years, and he's doing it now when he's covering the ICE operations in Minneapolis and everywhere else. What he says is that federal sources, including several in senior positions in immigration enforcement, are growing increasingly uneasy with the initial claims of DHS as this was happening right after the shooting. Specifically from Kristi Noem saying that this Mr. Pretty was there to conduct a massacre or wanted to carry out maximum damage. That is making the situation worse. She is not helping the cause of which many of these agents, most of them still absolutely, completely believe they support the mass deportation angle, but they have serious questions about how it's being carried out and how it's being talked about, specifically from Kristi Noem. And what these agents who are talking to Bill Malugin believe when the investigation is all said and done, what they believe you will find is that this was a bad shoot, as they call it. A crappy situation. They don't use the word crappy. They believe that the agents were saying gun, 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 and then there was an accidental discharge of the weapon when it was recovered off of Pretty's body, and that accidental discharge spooked an agent, and he began firing. That is what they believe. Kathy in Northville, you're on 760 WJR. And again, that information can change as the investigation continues, but that is what these agents believe happened. How you doing, Kathy?
Great. It's actually Poppy.
Poppy. How are you, Poppy?
Yeah.
I love that name.
I'm so good. Thanks. So what is going on in Minneapolis? You asked the question. I don't know, but I'm asking, who are they targeting as illegals in Minneapolis?
Oh, I've got that for you.
Please.
Well, give me a minute to pull it up. I mean, it's a terrible list of people with accused of sodomy and raping 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds. It is a terrible list, and it is the worst of the worst. And
So why are people coming out and protesting that?
It's a great question.
Why are they? I'm just like, hey, I'm a mom from Northville.
Right.
Those are some bad people. I don't want them in my backyard. So why would you come out and protest that? They're bad. They're bad people. Bye. Get out of our country. Get out of my city. I really don't understand. I'm not being naive. I really
Kathy,
don't understand.
Kathy, 100% of the people are not rapists. They are just mixed up in this, but they are illegal immigrants. And I think you have to ask the question, let's say 8 million people, and a lot of people believe it's 15 million, maybe even 20 million came across over the last 4 years under Joe Biden. I think that the question truly is, what should happen to those people that came over here? Are the 8 million people just allowed to stay? I think that is a question that we as a country have to ask. What should happen to those 8 million people, those 12 million people, those 20 million people, whatever the number is? It's probably no more than 20 and no less than 8. Your only crime was crossing the border. Forget about the rapists and the hardcore criminals. What should happen to the 8 million people? Should they just be allowed to stay? You've got to get Congress in on that. And even President Obama talked about that in 2013.
We have certain obligations to enforce the laws that are in place, even if we think that in many cases the results may be tragic.
There you go. That's the president in 2013. That's not 1985. That's when he was the president, just a short time ago. So, I don't know. It's the tactics, perhaps. I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did. Thanks for the call, though, Poppy. Call back anytime. I am way over. We got to get to Steve Courtney. We got a Super Bowl matchup. We'll do that next. 760 WJR.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is a prescription eye injection used.
Coming in 3, in 2. Coming up at 2 o'clock on 760 Coming up at 2 o'clock on JR Afternoon, Tom Homan on the ground in Minneapolis. Can he help? Can President Trump and Governor Walz work together to resolve the situation in Minneapolis? It's all coming up, 760 WJR.
Arma.
760 WJR and the Detroit Economic Club are pleased to welcome Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson to our podium Thursday, February 5th at the Masonic Temple in Detroit. She'll share powerful stories from her rise in politics as well as those of paradigm shifters throughout history to demonstrate how we're all purposeful warriors who have power to define a better world. Catch Focus noon till 2 as we broadcast live. Special coverage is sponsored by DFCU Financial. For tickets and more information, visit econclub.org.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Refresh your bathroom with big savings at Lowe's. Create the perfect bathroom with up to 50% off select vanities during Lowe's Bath Savings Event. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
We have an accident on I-275 northbound at I-696. Steer clear of a wreck on US 23 northbound before Silver Lake Road. That blocks your left lane. That's causing stop and go from M36. Disabled vehicle on the I-275 northbound off-ramp to eastbound I-96. And we still have that wreck blocking your right shoulder on I-75 southbound at North Line Road. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Here's your forecast.
Not a bunch of precipitation around, but there will be some. It's really the bitter cold that's going to get us here next couple of days. Actually going to be a cold week. Mid-teens today, cloudy this afternoon, a few snow flurries. At times, wind chills could be below zero, especially earlier in the day. Little light snow later tonight, early tomorrow, down around zero or just above. Suburbs below zero. Wind chills in the teens below zero with a cold weather advisory. Tomorrow, snowland, inch or less of accumulation, high near 20. Little breezy as we go through the day. Tomorrow night, we're down near zero. Wednesday, cloudy, high in the middle teens. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stageicon, 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
Super Bowl matchup is set. To help us talk about that and so much more. A couple of first-place teams in our area. How about it, Steve Courtney? How you doing, my man?
Ryan, I am good there, lad. How's everything your way?
Feeling like $1 million. Feeling like $1 million. Looking like $2 million. Thanks to our friends at Game Day Men's Health.
You know, I got to tell you, you're just looking superb, man.
Thanks, buddy. I'm feeling good. You know, I feel better at 47 than I do at 47. My birthday's on Friday. I feel better at 47 years old than I did at 37 years old. I don't know how it happens, but I do.
But I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you.
And by the way, happy birthday in advance. But
Thanks,
I'll see
buddy.
you plenty before then.
You got it.
Yeah, your Detroit Pistons, they were at LCA last night on that snowy Sunday night. The result really never in question as they hosted the rather lackluster Sacramento Kings. Cade Cunningham, 29 points to go along with 11 assists. Pistons win it. And how? 139-116. Hard to believe. This thing was tied at 35 after the first quarter. Then the Pistons said enough of this nonsense. They would outscore the Kings in the second quarter, 43-30. Jalen Duren, 18 points on 7 of 8 shooting. Tobias Harris reports for duty. He had 16 points. Interesting side note, Ron Holland got into a little tussle with Keon Ellis. He shoved him with 5:02 left in the tilt. And he was, well, ejected. So now your Pistons, they go out west. They will be in Denver to face the Nuggets. They're 31-15 for crying out loud. That'll be a 9:00 start tomorrow night. The Spurs and the Nuggets, by the way, 5.5 games behind OKC in the West. Then the Pistons will go to Phoenix. The Suns, they're 27-19. Then they'll finish it at Golden State. With the 26-21 Warriors. So some pretty important games coming up on this road trip. In the East, the Pistons on top, 5.5 better than Boston. Toronto now 6 games off the pace. So, you know, Ryan, it was very, very cold in our great area on Saturday. So the Red Wings, they went to Winnipeg, Manitoba. It was 26 below zero.
Yikes.
There. How about that?
I say yikes is probably 25 below here on Friday morning.
It was unbelievable how fate played a role in that one. But anyway, Red Wings take care of business on the ice. They beat the Jets 5-1. JT Compher scored a couple of goals. Lucas Raymond, Marco Kasper added a goal and an assist. And how about the cat, Alex DeBrincat? He also lit the lamp for the Red Wings, who scored 4 times there in the third period. John Gibson, how about this guy? 26 saves to earn his 21st win of the season. He now has earned wins in 8 straight starts. So the Red Wings, I'll also let you know, swept the season series with the Jets. So now the Red Wings will play host to the Los Angeles Kings. That'll be a 7:00 start tomorrow. What are the Kings up to? Well, they've got 55 points, good enough for 5th in the Pacific Division there in the Western Conference, 7 points behind El Numero Uno Vegas. Interesting side note here. Red Wings just getting her done. They are now on top of the Eastern Conference going into tonight's play, Ryan. They and the Carolina Hurricane both with 69 points. You take a look at the Atlantic Division, Red Wings back on top by a point over the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, like you said, my friend, the Super Bowl 60 is set. Going to be played February 8th, Levi Stadium, beautiful Santa Clara, California. The Seahawks and Patriots getting together. I enjoyed watching that snow-filled, windy tilt in Denver. And as you know, we had our conversation, Ryan, on Friday. I was rooting for Jarrett Stidham.
Yep.
And, his first throw, his first completion in a couple of years was a doozy, that 52-yarder to Marvin Mims. He would later, not long later, throw the 6-yard touchdown strike to Cortland Sutton. So all of a sudden, it's 7-0 Denver. And you're thinking, oh, okay, well, it pretty much ended there. Drake May handled the conditions just a little bit better. Interesting, though, he threw for just 86 yards, but he used his legs, ran for 65 yards, and he iced the win with that 7-yard scamper. So your thoughts on that, Tilt?
Well, I was rooting for Denver, and I go back and forth on this. It was nice to see the snow, but it was basically like New England survived. I don't like it when weather plays a role in who wins and who loses. I know I just don't. But nonetheless, I think Seattle is going to blow out New England. I think this is going to be a terrible Super Bowl. I think it's going to be, I hate to say it, I think it's going to be a terrible Super Bowl with a terrible halftime show.
Well, quickly, and I'll let you know right now that Seattle, the early 4.5-point favorite, but Sean Payton, the fine head coach of the Denver Broncos, he's going to have a long off season because he said afterwards that he did regret his call on 4th and 1 at the New England 14 there in the second quarter. Would have been a chip shot field goal. The inclement weather hadn't started yet. And when you take a look at the final score, 10-7, it would have been absolutely critical. I'm wondering if some of these results we're seeing now league-wide on 4th down is going to curtail the energy level and the analytics of going for it all the time.
Well, you've got to play the game you're in. It's my biggest problem with Dan Campbell. My number one biggest problem with Dan Campbell. Look, I know you have a strategy, but you got to adjust it. You can't just hit driver every time you get to the tee box. Sometimes you gotta lay it up, and you can't always go for it. And I think in playoff games, you've got to take the points in spots. And that was one, I think you had to do it. It cost them.
Yeah, I hear the music, so I know what that is. But you got to have the feels for Sam Darnold, kind of ushered out of New York by the Jets. He goes 14-3 last year with the Vikings. They say sayonara. He is now heading to the Super Bowl. I love that story.
And not only him, but how about Mike McDonald? I mean, when he was hired by Seattle, how many people said that was a good hire? Never been a head coach before, defensive coordinator at Michigan a couple of years earlier. I mean, come on. Incredible story, those Seattle Seahawks, and I think they'll win the Super Bowl. Steve, we love you. Thanks so much. Beth Ann Long, Rich Lazinski, Danielle Mason. I see you all in there. You're all rock stars to me, and so are you. Thanks for making us part of your day. 760 WJR.
Meet Matthew Preston,